Hello everyone, it's Yen. I know it's been forever since I made my last video, and it's not because I didn't have any footage to show, but I've actually had too much footage for the past 2 years, and I got overwhelmed with all of it, and I really wasn't sure what I was going to do with it. At first, I considered just keeping the files on my computer to look back for myself, but I felt like it was a little bit of a waste to not even try to make something out of it, something at least a little bit more curated and organized. So in the past couple weeks, I decided to get knee-deep in all of this footage and sort it out. It's been a really long time since I've shot some of these clips, but I still remember how I felt and what I thought during those days, and if I kept all of this footage to sit for any longer, I probably would have forgotten. Well, I know I would have forgotten those feelings bit by bit. To be fair, I don't know if all of this footage is in chronological order, but I tried my best, so bear with me. 2 years have flown by since I've shot these clips for this particular video, and it's so crazy how things have changed. It truly feels and was a different time, and I'll explain a little bit more later, but the summer was not the easiest in a variety of ways. By that I mean the summer of 2018. However, looking back, I would have traded this summer, 2020, for the summer of 2018 any day. Our current circumstances really do put the past in perspective. I want to be honest in my retelling of the summer of 2018, but ultimately I am really grateful for all the things I got to experience for the first time. It actually wasn't until I started making this video that I realized that the summer of 2018 was truly the summer of firsts and new beginnings, and that's what I really want to remember. Okay, enough of this introduction, let's get into the video. On June 21st, I got to celebrate my 21st birthday with my closest friends. We went to Jinya to eat ramen and caught up about how our summers were going. Our summers all looked so different, and we filled each other in on the joys and struggles we were facing. I think there were more struggles than joys, however. Even though we were so full, we made room for dessert, which consisted of ice cream-filled taiyakis, and then we went back to my house to eat cake. Yes, we ate even more, even though we were bursting at the seams. It felt nice to be celebrated, but mostly I was just glad to be with those I considered, and still considered, to be my closest friends from school. I made a video about my birthday that summer, and even though I still stand by what I said in that video, I have to be honest that I actually was pretty sad that not many people remembered my birthday. The summer of 2018 was the beginning of forgotten birthdays. Every year, it felt less and less special and acknowledged, and maybe that's just normal, but it still makes me sad every year. But I don't want to be dependent on having great birthdays. It's definitely something I'm working on. I went back to Charlottesville after that birthday weekend, and I was back to the same old routine. Just like in the other Verano vlog videos, communal lunchtime became a part of my days, and it was my favorite thing about that summer. Summer of 2018 was also the first time I ever went to the farmer's market. I think I was pretty behind on all the typical Charlottesville activities. We went and got breakfast, and it was nice to actually step outside of the university bubble and mingle with townies, as well as support local businesses. Afterwards, Sammy and I walked around downtown until it was time for lunch. We went to the pie chest. It wasn't my first time, so I knew that the sausage, goat cheese, and honey hand pie was the way to go for our savory pie. We ended up taking a gamble with our sweet pie, and it wasn't really our cup of tea. You win some, you lose some. I remember this day to be such a happy day, finally getting some fresh air and taking advantage of the nice weather and all that Charlottesville has to offer. One of our last stops that day was the old bookstore downtown. Occasionally, the owner's corgi is there to greet visitors, and it happened to be our lucky day. It didn't seem like the dog was all too much interested in us, but she let us pet her and follow her around. The owner was just as friendly, eager to help us find what we were looking for. I finally got to meet up with Grace and Mijin. Grace was busy studying, and Mijin was busy being a camp counselor, so it was nice to catch up over ice cream. I tried corn nuts for the first time, and I am sad to say that I am not the biggest fan. Later that week, Elaine came to visit Charlottesville, and I had the honor of spending a couple of hours with her. We went downtown to window shop and take photos. Here is a gap in the video because I didn't want to include the clip I had for this particular part, but I did want to mention that I got to do a photo shoot for some friends at the end of June. It was the first and last one that summer, and it was the first one of its type that I had ever done. It was hot and I got devoured by mosquitoes, but they were troopers and it was really fun. This memory will always be special to me in my amateur photography journey. Finally, it was July and I started it off by celebrating the 4th with Katie. We ate dinner with some friends at the Yellow House, but we had no plans for watching fireworks afterwards. Some people we knew were going to a park, but we got some insider details to go to a church parking lot to watch. It was definitely the move. We didn't have to fight for a parking space, and we got a really good view of the night sky to watch the fireworks. Afterwards, we had a really good talk, which is always a given with Katie. Definitely one of my favorite days from that summer. Skip a week and a half later, and Mrs. Chow came to visit us and was so gracious to buy dinner for Kevin, Joyce, Jess, and me. Another week and a half later, I met up with Betsy and my research professor because it was Betsy's last day before moving for grad school. Us three and a couple other researchers went to go eat for her going-away lunch. The next day, Joyce took me with her to record her testimony at a church member's house. The house was so beautiful and it felt like we were no longer in Charlottesville. This was one of the last days I was in Charlottesville before I went back home for August. The beginning of August started on a high when my mom, Yej, Kevin Oppa, and I went to Busch Gardens for the day. It was the first time going since we had moved 3 years earlier. Busch Gardens truly feels like home to me, and it was one of the most fun days I ever had that summer. And of course, I can't forget to include a video clip of Blue. A week later, from August 12th to the 15th, was Harvest Retreat. It was the first time I was leading a group for Harvest. At least, I think it was. My small group consisted of 3 UVA kids, including me, 1 person from Tech, my co-leader, 1 person from JMU, and 1 person from GMU. It was truly a humbling experience serving while coming out of a summer in which I felt so distant from God. I didn't have much to offer any of my members, and it really felt like they poured into me much more. We celebrated Sarah's birthday at Harvest, and here's a clip of my carpool buddies on the way back home from retreat. Days before going back to school for 4th year, my mom and I decided that we needed to go back to Busch Gardens one more time. We had so much fun earlier that month, and we had a perfect open day to go. So we strapped on our amusement park shoes, packed our snacks, and headed down to Busch Gardens with a family friend. It was a perfect amusement park day, despite one of the rides we were looking forward to not working. I couldn't have asked for a better way to wrap up the summer. Like I mentioned in the intro, I didn't really appreciate the summer for what it was at the time. These clips represent a few minutes out of the whole summer and are truly just the highlights. The moments unseen are the ones spent alone all day in the apartment. Most days I felt like I was wasting away inside the apartment while everyone else was out taking classes, studying, exercising, exploring Charlottesville, etc., etc. It's funny how the loneliness and boredom feel so small in comparison to what we have been experiencing for months in 2020. Maybe all of that time was preparing me for this year. Even though I know this video features a very small part of my life during the summer of 2018, I can appreciate it for the highs, and the lows just don't seem that important anymore. So I really am truly grateful for those months and for the memories I got to make, no matter how many. I don't know really how to end this video, so I'll just say, as always, thank you for watching, and get ready for the rest of the videos that span the timeline from 4th year to now. I'll see you in the next video.